Beau, you also just accepted a new role with Calf to Code, I saw. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right.
Is it a new role? I thought you were just taking on your like third. You're still at Hebe, right? You're still at HEB.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
and you're at Holt, and it's just your third job.
I mean, I finally figured out a way to add more hours in the day.
Yeah,
So it's like, hey, I might as well, if I've added another
yeah,
8 hours in the day, I might as well take another job. What am
right,
I going to do? Golf? Like,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not
Um,
just 8 hour blocks. Like my first 8 hours of the day are this, the second 8 hours this, and then
my
right.
first job, my second job, my third job, and then like 2 hours for like extra activities, whatever.
yeah, kids,
And yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, family,
And kids, yeah, something.
yeah.
I started officially on Monday, and I couldn't be more excited. I think to quote somebody from Holt, who I used to work for, um, couldn't be a more Texan individual. I won't share his name just in case he listens to this. Probably not, but he's from like if you've ever been to Texas, there are like city Texans, and then there's like small rural towns of like Texans, and like this, and then there are East Texans. So this guy, he's from East Texas, and like probably wears cowboy boots with his pajamas, um, type like. And I'm kind of inflating this for no reason, but I kind of gave my 2 weeks notice. I kind of went to his office, and we were talking, and he was like, "Beau, it really sounds like you're running towards this company and not running from us." So I thought that was like so poetic from such a country man, kind
Yeah,
of like I wouldn't have expected that from him. I would have expected that from like 100 other people at Holt, but like I was like, I'm stealing that. That was
yeah,
really good. And
Yeah, you're
there was
writing that down in your notes.
right, and there was nothing wrong at Holt, and like, but there was so much of an opportunity and something that I wanted to run towards at Calf to Code. So I was like, time to run, time to pick up my stuff, and we're going to make sure that this is an opportunity I run towards and jump at. So yes, I'm super excited.
that's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
I met Cat Dakota. It's been a couple years now. We actually met him in Dallas at an event. It was the first year that Ellipse we had participated in an emerging partners program with Microsoft, and Cat Code was there, and so we got to meet um, Ben and Madeline in that first run, and they were just kind of just starting, not really starting out. I mean, Ben had been doing this, and they've been doing this for a while, but it was kind of their kind of the beginning, I think, of a kind of a blossom period for them, and it's been fun to stay in touch and stay connected with them over the course of the last couple of years.
Certainly. I think Ben and I have kind of been friends for, I don't know, 5 years. So it's definitely been a long time coming, and it was very much of a like, hey, almost when you run into somebody and you're like, hey, the timing isn't right,
Mm-hmm.
and then almost like I started at Holt, and I started thinking like, oh man, maybe the stars will never align
Mm.
when our opportunities are going to line up, and that all really kind of changed when I was at a conference actually. So I was at Summit, and I really found out like, hey, um, I knew I wanted to continue to grow in leadership opportunities and really wanted to escalate. And like, those were always my aspirations,
Mm.
but very much of an, like Holt had an IT organization that needed a senior leader. And that's the role I stepped into at Holt. And I loved it. And I loved every single minute of that. But I was sitting in that conference, and I was like, man, my cup is being filled by learning and being around dynamics people. And the what I didn't realize, and my wife realized, because I had texted her during that morning session, and I said, honey, I really love this, and I really miss being around dynamics a lot and all the time. And she's like, honey, I knew that. So I was like, Okay, well, why didn't you tell me this?
What are you holding back for?
He
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
he needed you to
So
figure it out yourself. It's like with your kids. It's like you can't tell them; they
yeah.
have to figure it
I
out.
like that.
And so I look back at the time, and she reminded me of all of this timeline. I started at Holt in April last year, and about 3 weeks later, I had started blogging, and it was like, oh yeah, I like unintentionally started filling my cup up back up with dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, on my off time, I'm going to keep fresh on this, and I'm going to keep contributing to the community. And you'll come to find out that it was very much of like this subconscious me trying to like fill my cup up. And she saw it, and I had to realize it, 8 months later. So
Yeah.
She marked it
the
on the calendar. If you go back like in May of last year on her calendar, it's like Beau will be
right, yeah, she
in a
had to
different
fool with
role.
herself.
He's got to
Yeah,
learn it himself though.
Right.
right. She, man, it's if only I would listen to my wife 100% of the time, like
I'm
the
recording this. I'm gonna send this
Yeah.
right.
to her.
It's now official, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she happens to be right a lot more often than I'm willing to admit.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. That's exciting I mean, your story kind of sounds a little similar to like Bobby, how you're always passionate about community and things like that, and Beau, you're passionate about dynamics, and so you guys are kind of finding your niche, and that's very cool. That makes me excited and happy for you guys. So
I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people. I mean, it's a good
yes.
story, and a couple of cool little like pullouts from there. That the running towards as opposed to running away is a great
Mm-hmm.
analogy, which I totally agree with. That's the way I felt in moving into Dynamics user group. Doug, coming from Ellipse, it was less I've got to get out of Ellipse. It was more like this other thing's just calling me, and I can't turn it down right now. It's the time is right.
Yeah, and you're honestly, Bobby, you're like your entire journey after you've taken on this new role in at Doug is like flat out inspirational. Or
Aw.
like just to like think about like, hey, your willingness to like leap without like full definition, and it's really just like a not trying to make that sound scary, but it's very much of like, hey, the world is really your oyster, and like
Mm-hmm.
how you want to define like your community engagement and driving that and building it, it's like everything that is in 2025 that's going to occur that you're involved in has been 100% in your autonomy. That is rare.
Hmm.
And it's like, yes, we need more of that. And like
I appreciate. I've been running to that for a long time. I was just talking to a person I've been mentoring and talking about this journey, right, of like where I started years and years ago, and all the different opportunities to the point where I started to recognize this idea of you do control and just slowly, like you said, taking more control and even more and taking these weird leaps sometimes was like, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move across country and do this, or I'm going to, jump here and just kind of take a leap. Um, it is freeing. It's fun. I mean, it's scary too. I mean, there's definitely there's some bite to it, but it's fun.
yeah.
And we're excited, Beau, for you to be here and be our technically first guest on the Dynamic Buddies podcast. So lucky
Okay.
you.
No
We were
pressure.
each
No
other's
pressure.
first guest. It hasn't dropped yet, but
Yeah.
we had an opening jam
Yeah, like a
sesh
pilot episode
last week
Yeah.
that Savannah's editing as I slowly give her collateral. I'm such a slacker.
No,
It's
you're
like
good. Yeah, I was emailing Bobby like 4 different times this morning for like different things. It'd be helpful if I just had all my thoughts together and could just send one one email. But I was like,
I'm
sorry,
purposely
it's
just
me
sending back one
again.
email at a time, one piece at a time. Like, oh yeah, just gonna slowly. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Just a slow
exactly.
drip of info.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
one picture at a time. Did you like the ad of the picture with we have a cool opening, like an animated opening that I worked on. I've been playing around with like film, studios and just trying to get some animation. So I've got a start one. I want to tweak it a little bit more, I think, but it came along pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Cool.
And yeah,
Now
Beau,
I got to
you'll
look
get to
forward to
see it
this.
see it
Yeah.
soon. But
I've got one for the
hey,
BS bunch too. Not that we're here to talk about the BS bunch, but
Thanks.
it's pretty sweet. I haven't shown it to Beau yet. We're doing a BS podcast because it's Beau Schwieso and Bobby Small and Brianna Sierra. So it's three BSers. So it's gonna be
that is so funny because Brent, our marketing manager at Ellipse, Bo, he brought up like a little tagline possibility. I actually haven't told you this, but he was like, "You guys should use like no BS as like a
Nice.
tagline or something because it's like Bobby and Savannah BS like that kind of thing, and it's like
yeah,
we're just
that's funny.
straightforward. We're not BSing anybody." So
And it's
that's
funny
funny
because your
that you
last name
kind
is
of
B, so it's like Bobby Small, Savannah Ball. So it's like
yeah,
a
it
flip
kind of
Yeah.
flop. Yeah,
interchanges.
you're
Yeah,
you're a
so.
BS. Technically, you could be a BS in
Yeah,
reverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can be a little BS guest or something.
It's like BS
So,
adjacent. We'll
Yeah.
yeah,
yes. Yeah.
honorary BSer.
Yeah.
We'll take it for
Palindromic
sure.
BSer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There. That's the word. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to say I'm still in the club, but yeah, speaking of our like intro video and like graphics and things like that, Bobby and I in our intro episode, we did some artificial intelligence graphics and had them like drum some up. And so
Okay.
I created some of us three and I was going to share them here and we can kind of like see
I
what they
can't
look like.
wait to see what this came up with.
Let's
Yes.
do it. Let's see
Yeah,
it.
we had some interesting results. The Microsoft Designer and Copilot they're still working some kinks out.
Yeah. And I'll say these ones were not much better.
My favorites are the
um,
ones where we're podcasting like this,
yeah.
Great.
like
Great.
very stern. We need a
Okay, can you
countdown.
guys see that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is
two
my
old dudes
first.
and a.
I know. What was
Yeah,
the prompt here? Like.
it
I'm gonna
was
guess I'm in
like
the middle though because of the hat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Man,
did say like
I'm a
you should be
silver
wearing
fox. I'm just gonna say it.
You
yeah.
look good, man. We look like
Yeah.
the Grateful Dead before Jerry. Like if Jerry was still living, like in the middle,
Yeah.
I'm Jerry. You're Bob Weir on the side there, and
I'll take it.
Savannah's like a groupie. I don't know, interviewing us.
Yeah,
Somehow
who
I
knows,
only have the
Julian?
keyboard just for the MacBook. Like
Yeah.
I don't need no screen for this MacBook. Like
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
always love
and
again,
yeah,
and it's the little details to me. Like look at your arm. It's got like this. Is that like elbow skin that's pushing up over the table? Like what's going on right there? Yeah,
it looks like some extra fingers trying to pop out there. It looks
maybe
like
it's the
some
fingers that are trying to
bow.
pop out there. Yeah.
Yeah. These ones in
oh
Canva
no.
were not very good. But yeah, I like my prompt was like a brunette haired girl in her 20s, a man with a gray beard in his 40s, and then a blonde haired man with a mustache in his 30s. But you guys look elderly. Like these are not men in their 30s and
This
40s.
is like Click and Clack, the car
We
guys.
Yeah.
we have our AARP cards, and it's like well used. It's like it's
Yes.
worn around the edges
We're
at
actually
this
that's what
point.
the podcast is about. There, we're trying to convince Savannah to join early. The A. I said no, there's no reason you shouldn't
Hey,
join
there
now.
is.
AARP's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
You
get
think
on
you
in
need to
here.
join it in
get
Let's
your
your card
60s? You
soon.
can actually join it now. Yeah.
You guys are pitching like the BS Club and the AARP at the
They're
same
all
time
of it.
here, I think.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was
Imagine
the
a
first
discount on
one.
your coffee every morning.
yeah.
Like that's what you can get.
Here we go.
This
Okay.
one is
Okay.
also interesting. Like I said, Canva did not do very well this time around. Like none of them look like us at all.
It is. I like
So
this. I like the energy of this one. The ponytail is interesting. I assume that's a ponytail.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
That
either a
one of us is rocking
ponytail.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, who's to say? I don't
I'm.
know where they
I'll
came
give you
from.
dibs on the ponytail if you want, Bo.
Okay.
I've had a
Yeah.
ponytail in the past.
If I can get back like past the awkward phase, I would definitely grow my hair out. But
Yeah.
I feel like the awkward phase would be as long as January usually is, and
Hmm.
it's like 87 weeks long.
Yeah.
So like I
I
don't
was
know
in a
how
meeting
that. Yeah.
today. We were talking about how January feels like it's 12 months long, and then the
Hmm.
rest of the year feels like it's just like the month of January, like
That's
combined or
funny.
whatever. So yeah, this one's interesting. This one it gave me a mustache because I need to be a part of
That's
the
the one we need
mustache
to use
game.
right there. Yes. We
Yeah.
all are
Yeah,
just. There's no prejudice here. No bias.
right.
Mustache. No
Yeah,
mustache. I like,
this
like
one's
that one.
This one
interesting.
is like yeah, and yep, no comments, no
Yeah.
comments, no
Okay,
notes,
moving
no
on.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great one.
This is my last one in Canva. This one,
Yeah.
though, it gave me like
Okay.
very Texas-esque vibes. So I was like,
Florida
I'll definitely
Georgia
keep
line.
this one
Yeah,
in
we're looking
here.
good there.
Yeah. So
Okay, I just got a cowboy hat last weekend, so
there you go.
I could pull this one off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like
You guys look like
you could add Tombstone as a drop behind it, and we'd fit right in with Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott. Yeah.
the 1893 episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeehaw. So yeah, those were my Canva ones, and then I went into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT actually did a pretty good job this time. I felt like. I feel
Okay.
like this is like my favorite one out of all the ones.
That's so peppy. Yeah, where it's like
Yeah,
like
I
the
like
like
that.
we've been gone back in time. Look, I love it.
Yeah, very cutesy.
Although,
I
like,
feel
I'm assuming, Bobby, are you in the middle with the like fedora?
I don't know if that's Savannah what the prompt was. I'm guessing I'm in the middle.
assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So it for some reason inherently just cut you off. Like your microphone is not plugged in.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
it's just the Bobby and Savannah
It
show.
knew
Right?
I
Or
talk a
Bo
lot.
and
It
Savannah
didn't.
show.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't need me to talk anymore. It's like, yeah, we're fine. Just
and
just
you
be
don't have
here.
headphones either, so you're just there for a good time. You're not there for.
I'm really just kind of
Right.
I'm photobombing this podcast, which is cool.
Yeah.
Total vibes. We'll take
Yeah.
it.
And then this was the last one, and it made Bobby look like the guy from Pinocchio.
It's like
The
the same
hard-
one for you guys, but all of a sudden I came back aged. It's like I came back in time again. It's like, hey guys, I'm back.
If this podcast has aged you about 20 years, probably you're stressed out.
I like it. Yeah, just from the time it started to the time it ended. That's what happened.
Exactly. So
There-
yeah, I'd
it's
say
like
that
this
this
like
one's
red freckle and heart also. Yeah.
Yep.
this one's perfect for like Valentine's Day, which is like probably where this episode is gonna drop near. So
That's
Oh,
happy
yes.
for
funny.
it.
Yeah. I
If
mean,
it
you're
drops
looking
at
pretty
4, make sure to
pretty
grab
cool there, too.
flowers. Yeah.
like the Fonz look. You got like it's like if
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
like if Richie Cunningham stole the Fonz's jacket though. It's like Fonz left
Yeah.
his jacket hanging and Richie Cunningham took it and ran.
It's like a blonde Fonz.
The
Yeah.
blonde Fonz, yeah.
I need a black jacket. Apparently.
There's some inspiration for you then. Just
Yeah.
go to the store with this picture and then just kind of look around, ask the sales associates.
And
"Do you
I
have
feel
a
like
jacket
trench coats are
like
just
this?"
100% out. Like I don't think anybody's wearing a trench coat anymore, unless you're like Perry the Platypus or I don't know, selling watches still on this side streets.
It just opens the trench coat. Hey,
I'm selling trench coats out of a trench coat. Like, look, trench coats. I got trench coats. They're coming back.
That would be an idea. That would be pretty
Inception
cool.
like trench coat selling.
Inception trench. You get a free trench coat with every trench coat you buy. It's pretty sweet.
Exhibit also tried that, and that show went away.
Yeah.
Or when she won, she started really exploding to me when Kanye kind of interrupted one of her awards, and like
Right.
he has that claim to fame, at least self-proclaimed to fame, as like when she started taking off is when he interrupted that
That's
award.
funny.
But like very much of like she was super ultra famous well before that, but it like became such a meme, and it was like, oh yeah, we're paying attention, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to say maybe we need to try some of this in person. Like maybe the next session you give, Beau, I'll just stand up and scream, "Get your implementation out your mouth," and then I'll run up and
Like
create some
Will
controversy.
Smith. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
I just lay one on you a fake wise, and then I step on back, and then I get an award at the end. Then people are clapping for me.
Yeah.
I'm very willing to take a real slap, so you don't have to do a fake one. Like,
It might be difficult. I mean, I would have to like climb up a few things to like, literally slap you. It's gonna be a jump slap or something.
Little
I don't know what to
ladder.
figure that out.
It's like at the beginning of the session, we'll just like pre-stage the like step stool, and it's just, like, what is that? Oh, you'll find out. Like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Something may or may not happen. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Right. I've got like numbing gel that's obviously on my face. Like
Yeah. And I've got an extra like hard glove, like a metal glove or something on one hand, like a Michael Jackson things. It's really just we're into it.
Extenuated. Sign me up for the session, guys. Let me know when this is happening.
Yeah.
I'll be front
Really.
row ready with my sign.
Dynamics. So to me, I think like when shucks, I've been on the customer side and user side for more than a decade. So the things that I look for in a good partner is somebody that really is asking the right questions. And when I mean the right questions, I mean the tough questions. So, like, hey, they're not here to just be a yes man or a yes
Mm-hmm.
woman. They're here to be the experts that we're going to pay for, and they're also um, tacking on to that. I would say like 1A is asking the tough questions, and 1B is somebody that a partner that has this mentality that it really is a partnership, and hey, we're in this boat with you, and we're not here just to finish out this implementation, but something that I really enjoyed when I was working with system integrators is we would talk about implementations as if you're building a house. And if you start to build a house, the customer are the people that live in that house after it's built. A good partner or a good system integrator talks about it as if they're living in that house with you. So when you think about it that way, from a customer's perspective, they are choosing design choices because they know that they want the washer and dryer here because that's going to be convenient from walking from, taking off their clothes to go take a shower or whatever. A partner or a general contractor in that example doesn't care. They're like, hey, I need this house done so I can move to the next house, so I can move to the next house and the next house. And that's my business model. But a good system integrator wants to, be with you in that journey for the longer haul. And when you switch that mentality, you switch up your questions. And when you switch up your questions, you start asking more challenging questions that cause some more thought leadership. So, to the heart of your question, like how do we get to, or what makes a good decision when you're kind of choosing? To me, that's like the number one. And 1A and 1B. Number two is understanding their expertise. So I've got some experience on both sides of this of like requesting specific resumes or CVs for like kind of naming folks on implementations and kind of like a post go live support or hypercare type scenario. And then I've been part of end users or customers that don't necessarily care about that kind of level of detail. They have they phrased it as we trust you and we want you have our best interest at heart, that you'll select the right people. Not to say that the other way around isn't rooted in trust. It's just more of like, hey, we want to understand the expertise and we don't want to, necessarily spend a lot of investment growing an expert outside of the organization. So those would I would say the one and two things that we look at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
don't be afraid. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I really like the comparison of like the house being built and the contractor and everything being compared to like a partner and things like that. Because yeah, there is a lot going into it, and as like the customer or the person who is wanting the house built, I think in turn like you have to really sit down and think and build out the blueprints for the house and think about all those things that you want as well, so that you can communicate with your potential partner about what you want. Because obviously it's about asking the right questions and everything, but also you have to have like an idea and everything in mind as well. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
very cool comparison.
And that was a perfect ad, Savannah, because what I was going to say too is that oftentimes, whether you're readying for an implementation or a new install, you've got a partner in place already. Maybe you've been really interactive with that partner, maybe you haven't, but every opportunity, especially a big one like an implementation of an ERP system, you should take it super seriously and not just assume that the partner you're with is the one. you should do all the diligence to see where they are at this moment. It's like you may have been with them, maybe they started with you and it's been 5 years and they've been great. Every once in a while you ring them up for some service, but that doesn't mean that they are fitting your needs for this particular implementation. So it's important to step back and do all that diligence all over again and make sure that you are getting what you need in that. Because I think what I've seen, and Beau could probably attest, we could ask around the industry globe, and is that people just jump right in. And same with buying a house. You just get out there and you see a few you like and boom, you're into it. And without really slowing down to think about all the things like Beau mentioned, oh, it does make a difference. I really would prefer if the washer and dryer were here and we got this house and now I've got to get used to this one being here, as opposed to just slowing the process down a bit, excuse me, and making sure that everything's aligning. Because whether it's a house or in our case, we're talking implementations, you're going to get into it and it gets serious quick. It's a big endeavor, and getting in, getting down the road in a, multi-million-dollar systems implementation integration, it's hard to pump them brakes, and you're spending money and time. And so getting that house in line ahead of time, knowing, is the partner you're with the one, or do you want to interview some partners that maybe are with you? Like I think back to being diagnosed with a disease, and the doctor that diagnosed me, a neurologist, great neurologist. People love him. I didn't like him. He wasn't my neurologist. He wasn't the person that was going to resonate with me for the rest of my journey on this. So he did a great job up to the point where we got the diagnosis, and I found the person that was going to meet my needs, for what I thought I needed out of this this next part of our relationship. So just keep that in mind. Get things organized quickly when you're ready for that point, and then and find out if the partner you're with is the one, or if you need to review other partners that maybe align where you are now.
I love that. I think your analogy resonates really well. To me, I think it's very much of a situation where, like exactly what you said, just because you've been with this, partner or SI for X amount of years does not mean that they're, the one that's going to take you for this major implementation or the next 5 years. So you end up with a scenario that, like, as your business evolves, your requirements for SIs evolve along the same way. And then while I was at the customer side, we did those same evaluations. I remember my first implementation of AX many, many moons ago. We had a separate third-party partner just to evaluate and help us do due diligence to select the right implementation partner. Sure. So the companies that take it super seriously end up being the most successful, but it also takes a large investment, and some companies don't come into it very eyes wide open that this is a large piece of software that touches every part of your business, and it isn't just a next finish. And that ages me quite a bit, but to recognize that ERPs are the spine and the brain of your company, isn't just the first step. It's a major step in understanding what you're about to endeavor.
And I'll caveat that you may already know that your current partner is the partner too. If you've got a good ongoing, I mean, it doesn't mean you always, it's like, oh, I've got to, question everything. You might have a really good relationship with your partner, and there's no doubt we're going forward because we're already at that level. We've been working towards this through our daily interactions or whatever. Just, again, it was more about, making sure you know that, and you might know it inherently, or it might be something you recognize through your process. But just take that part seriously. It was kind of the key for me.
Yeah. It's kind of like we talked about this episode being released around Valentine's Day, but it's kind of like relationships too. Like maybe you've been in a relationship since like high school going to college, 7 years, and maybe you're having some doubts, like maybe it's not serving you anymore, things like that. It might be time to reevaluate and see like what's changed, how you've changed, how your business has changed in that same sense. But yeah, and you
Or
guys were
they're
talking
high school
about,
sweethearts and they end up
yeah,
getting married.
or
Right.
maybe like Bobby
Yeah.
said, maybe nothing's going wrong and
Yeah.
it all feels right and it's working out perfectly. Like you never know.
Yep.
So yeah.
But it goes back to your point of like being engaged too with your partner on those levels. I think you mentioned, a good partner. Beau said, listening, but being strong with best practice and not just being, a yes company that says yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to adapt to each customer. When you're a partner, you're dealing with X number of customers, and every customer is different. So if you just have your partner template and it's like, well, you've got to do it my way, and that's the only way. Each party should have space to listen and adapt to that relationship, because you're going to get the best out of it. That works, I think 100% the best when everybody's listening and adapting to the needs within that short framework of, we're not going to go too far out of our best practices just because a customer wants us to do something. We've got to hold ground somewhere.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to go too
Allowing
far out of our
grace.
customer
Yeah.
zone if the partner said something that we just truly don't believe in. But you'll find, if you're open to this, you'll find that balance.
Allowing grace for space on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always bring chocolate. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, it is Valentine's Day. That chocolate will solve about 99% of your issues. Like you're disagreeing, but chocolate,
Flowers,
Yeah.
all the good stuff.
Yeah. Just a side digression. Do you, when you get these samplers, do you poke them and rip them apart, or you just go for it?
Me?
Yeah, anybody. It's like when you get those candy samplers at Valentine's, and they've got.
I'm very much like I gotta rip it in half to figure out what I'm about to eat.
Each one's got a different flavor. Like you got a cherry flavor,
Caramel,
and then a nougat,
cherry,
and
the
caramel, and a dark
samplers.
whatever, and a pretzel
Yeah.
thing. It's like, do you got to figure it out, or you just gonna go for it?
I like to look at the bottom of the box because normally it has like a description. So I got to know what I'm getting into rather than just like a free for all.
There's that reading portion, but then there's to me there's that extra. Like, you could say like cherry flavor, but then you're like, but what does that even mean? Like, is it liquidy?
True.
Is it smushy?
Is it an actual cherry in it?
Is it an actual cherry in there?
Chocolate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why I break it in half, because I still eat it basically no matter what.
Yeah.
So at some point, who am I fooling? Like,
right.
I'm not fooling
Do you break
myself,
Kit Kats in half too? There's wafers inside there. Just still break them in half. It's like, yep, it's still snapped. Yeah.
I've got a very controversial way of eating Kit Kats, so we'll maybe talk about that on a different episode.
I was gonna say I eat candy pretty again in weird ways. Like I eat M&Ms, like peanut butter M&Ms, like pistachios, like crack them and separate the coating from the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have to separate my M&Ms based on color, even though they all taste the same. But it's just like a little.
But do they taste the same? I don't know.
The red ones are way better for some reason.
I feel like there's a slight difference, in the chemical flavorings that are red dye number 5 tastes so much different than red dye number 7.
Yeah.
True. I'm sure there's a Reddit post out there that is like still selling red dye number 5 and like 1990s M&Ms.
Yeah.
It's like, I still got them. I knew they were changing the flavor.
Right.
So.
I've got a whole stockpile. I just bought every last bag, and I've got them in a big vat. I can just pour them out.
Like when Twinkies went extinct for a second, everyone was selling those on like eBay or whatever else. Goodness. But yeah, another question I had for you guys are talking about like evaluating partners and things like that. When you guys were in that process, like what did that look like for you? Were there certain pieces of educational content you were looking for when you were reaching out to partners, or just do you have any like tips and tricks when going into that process?
Bobby, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I think, for me in evaluating partners, I mean, one thing, the number one thing I was looking at times was cost. So, partners that were flexible, like I had a partner that was local, a couple that I looked at were local in Denver. So that made travel costs less of a thing, especially back, 5 years ago, where their resources were also local. Now it's a little different. And you've got more remote work. But even then, there are some partners that are very specific, like they won't do any remote work. I don't know if how many are still like that, but I knew some that were very specific. Nope, everybody has to be on site. We only work on site. We're going to come park somebody for 4 weeks to do work, and so forth. And then there are other partners that are a little bit more flexible. So for me, pricing was a thing that I was looking at, and how that's going to affect our bottom line for cost, and how they're. And then it goes into, the next level for me would be, I think Beau mentioned it. Then you're starting to look at, their industry specific type of experience. So those were probably the top two things that I would look at. And then, of course, relationship plays a part too. So, people that I know and am comfortable with in the community.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is, replacing ERPs can't be an emotional response to anything. It's always a business decision, and business decisions are always, or should always, be rooted in, a how do I say this? An understanding and a fiduciary responsibility level. So, from a customer's perspective on selecting a partner, has to be rooted in understanding what their cost is. It can't be like, hey, cost is no object. Like, cost is always an object. So that is usually always something that's in the top three on your selection. And generally, like, just for transparency, when you're selecting a partner, they're usually providing 1 to 2 slide decks, or slides on the deck that is like, hey, here's what we estimate the project to be, X amount of hours, here's our blended rate, here's what the total cost of your implementation will cost over the next 2 to 24 months, or 2 to 84 months, depending on the size of the company. And generally, you're picking, three against 3 different partners that, ironically, come around the same cost. So, at the end of the day, you're not really choosing a partner necessarily based on cost, unless one is totally out, like way above what you either can afford or that you're willing to pay for that kind of implementation. But the next things down the rung are, exactly what Bobby talked about. But to tag along with that is, you're about to work with these people for the next 2 to 84 months. What is that culture fit with that company, with your company? And, hey, they challenged you on discovery. Did that feel like an argument, or did that feel like a conversation? And those are the things, those are the data points that you really need to gather, and you really need to understand, from my perspective, on like, hey, choosing the right partner. And it's almost like a job interview at that point. Then it's very much of like, hey, am I going to enjoy getting an email from this person, or am I going to sigh? And like, if you start thinking, even at the discovery phase, that you're going to start to sigh, it will only get worse when you get into the weeds of implementing an ERP, because those questions are infinitely harder than, what does your business do? And talk to me how you do receiving, and talk to me how you do AP. Those are easy questions compared to, hey, you need to choose between this configuration that has these pros and cons, and this configuration that has these pros and cons. We need to get into this, and we need to make a decision so that the project can continue to go. Those are more difficult, and you have to have a strong relationship in order for that to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird that we're making this all about almost relationships, because it is going to release around Valentine's Day. But it like, you do select a partner that you're going to be very close to for a long time. Yeah. So making that
decision, a person coming in and fixing your faucet for 1 second. Like, I'm going to come in and put a new washer in your faucet. If you don't get along with that person or whatever, who cares? You paid your $90 and it's done. But you pointed out, this really is a relationship. This isn't just a project, a job. It's more of a relationship, and there should be a good fit there.
Yeah, I like the 2 to 84 month time frame that she threw out.
Right. Give or take a few months,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like the when you're back in the day when you're trying to schedule cable installation or your internet installation, they'd give you like an 8-hour window.
Yeah.
You're like, hold
Right.
on, I don't work from home, so like, what is the specific hour you're going to be here? I can't just call the rest of the day off. So
It'd be funny if that's the way it, like, wedding vows were written too. Do you, Beau Schwieso, take your lovely bride for 2 to 734 months,
right, give or take, yeah.
give or take?
Yeah,
There,
nice to say.
yeah. Besides culture fit, I think the other thing that comes to mind, and we were just so. Let me step back. It's important for us to like realize that at this point, when you're selecting a partner, you've already chosen an ERP. So for most companies, I think for most partners kind of forget that. To be honest, I think a lot of partners don't realize that that company already went through a very stringent vetting process on what ERP they're going to go with or
Yeah.
what CRM they're going to go with. And some of those folks are extremely burnt out even on just that process. So you coming in as a fresh bunny to this process, like to the company, and like, oh yeah, aren't you super excited? When some people are not excited, and they were like, man, I just went through 6 weeks of sales just to hear about
Right.
SAP, Oracle, or D365, and we landed on D365, thank the Lord. But also now I got to try seemingly do the same thing on picking the right implementation partner. So I think a lot of partners kind of forget that, especially on companies that are choosing Microsoft for the first time. So
Right.
I think for me, it was impressive to see implementation partners recognize that and almost put their like EQ hats on, and it's like, hey, we are like, I've been where you are, and I haven't just been on the partner side for my entire life. I've been where you are. I've sat where you are. I know the decision you're about to make. It's a large one. If you want to talk about this off the record, we can talk about it off the record. Like, we'll be with you in every step.
Yep.
So I don't know how you like put that into a data point, but like that was always important to me.
It's a good, just a sensitivity type, feel for the room, like to know going in
Yeah.
already. So you're not, again, you're not exacerbating some, process that's been happening for 6 to 8 weeks already that now they're going to be tired of you. And the first minute you open your mouth and start talking about something salesy or something that's,
Right.
not just like, supporting them, so having that understanding, again, it goes back to your point of asking the right questions, knowing the situation. Those are, you'll find, you'll find your partner. Again, everybody's going to have a different fit. So you just got to, know yourself and your own company culture. I was going to mention earlier, bringing in, it's got to be beyond an IT person. Like if I'm the IT person and I'm the only person interviewing partners, you want to expand that out at some point and bring on your team, your key SME players, your subject matter experts, your department heads, or you've got to have a strong, it's like an HR thing. You've got to have a strong understanding of your entire culture. If you don't, then you've got to bring those people in, because you don't want to, bring them in and throw a company, partner onto your group that doesn't fit, that, that you got major conflict with.
I've always said the phrase, we enable the business through technology. And I guess saying it another way to tag along what you just said is technology follows the business. So if you only have technologists in the room, then you're not following the business. You're actually suggesting, hey, we are Microsoft fans, so we're going to implement this. That's how we chose it, right? So making it a business decision is how you not only make it a successful implementation, but that's how you drive change management and adoption.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have brought up a lot of great points. We're unfortunately running low on time now, but just to kind of close us out with all the great things you've said, just some points for maybe like the customer to have a checklist, make sure you know what your priorities are, be able to assess the culture of your own company so that you know kind of what you're wanting going forward, looking for a partner, know what industry you're looking for, all of that good stuff. And then from a partner aspect, make sure you're not being too salesy. I think Ellipse is pretty good about that. I think probably Code is too, but I feel like we're very educational focused. Even you'll see us throughout the community at different events, always out there just trying to help everyone out. So I think that's important, not being too salesy, and just like Beau just said, remember that they've already went through an extensive process. So make sure also ask the right questions as well. So yeah, those are all great points. And
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Beau,
objectively, this is a big. Like Beau mentioned it. It's a huge decision, so you've got to be objective about it. You've got to be. You got to take some of that emotion out before you propose, right? If we're sticking with our relationship, before you pop that, ring out and the fireworks go off and the plane flies, whatever people are doing these days.
Well, this engagement just went insane. I can't wait to see this. Yeah.
yeah. We'll have AI string one up for us to put at the end of this episode. Goodness. But yeah, all good points. And Beau, we kind of ended out our last episode saying like who our favorite fictional buddy would be. So my prompt for this time, I kind of switch it up a little bit, but who in like either a movie or TV series is your like favorite buddy duo, if that makes sense?
Probably Talladega Nights. So yeah, the shake and bake all day. That one immediately came to mind. I would say I think one of them is called Buddy.
Yeah. Isn't it? Is it right?
No,
there's obviously Ricky Bobby, and then the other guy's
might
name
be Ricky Bobby.
There's Ricky Bobby, and then the other guy's name is John C. Reilly's character guy.
Whoever that.
But they ended up they were buddies and best friends for life, even though they fought in the middle. But spoiler alert, they ended up making up at the end, even through a wedding.
Right.
They ended up marrying the same lady.
Unique wedding, right? Right. Yeah.
I would answer it that way. What about you guys?
Yeah, I had Haley James Scott and Brooke Davis from One Tree Hill. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show.
I know the show.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think they have a really good dynamic, and there's a lot that goes on in that show, and I just really like both those characters individually as well. So that's who I had.
As soon as they went to college, I was out.
Really? It did kind of go downhill. Like if all the high school drama wasn't happening anymore, it kind of got too real for a second.
It feels like high school's ready for drama. In college, you got to, it's like, how does it keep going? Come on.
Yeah, you got to grow up at some point.
Yeah, grow up, One Tree Hill.
What are you doing?
Like 5 Tree Hill, and it was too much.
Yeah, they did.
Exponential Tree Hill. I love it. We talked about it. Savannah and I were talking about so many buddies. Like you could go for, like, if you had time to think about all the buddies in cinema and, culture, there's just so many to choose from. So I'm doing like total spur of the moment. I didn't give it any thought, but I'm going to go with this is just, they've been in a number of movies, but Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson in pretty much any movie they've made together. They're just, I love the way they're so supportive of each other in the crappiest movies too. Like, The Internship, or just these really bad, really comedies, but their little unit. I mean, they're so in love with their relationship and their buddiness that I was like, these guys, they're supporting each other nicely. Yeah. I like it.
The Internship, Wedding Crashers, all time. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. In both cases, they've always got each other's backs. It just, they can feel that love happening on screen.
For sure. That is a good one. I like that. It is fun seeing like actors who just like continuously stick together, like Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. Why are they always married?
They're always married. Yeah. Every show.
Oh goodness. But cool. Those are some good ones.
Yeah. Adam Sandler's got a pretty good run because he's had Drew Barrymore. He's marrying her like 4 times. He's got Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. And then like his wife is somehow always in the movie but never married to him.
Never married to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Stan Lee in Marvel, essentially.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Just pops up.
Goodness.
Adam
Well, cool.
Sandler has had a really good run.
Great run.
Between him and Jim Carrey, they were my favorite growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both brilliant, in different ways. I mean, just brilliant
Completely
actors,
different ways.
and brilliant careerists. They've just done such a great job at managing their careers.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
cool.
Savannah, thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this one posting and looking forward to the pilot episode posting so I can see that and seeing this intro graphic.
Man.
Lots
Super
to look forward
hyped
to.
intro
Yeah,
graphic.
thank you for joining us too, Beau. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
It's been really fun chatting with you. So, hope to talk
Cool.
to you.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you so much, Savannah. Good seeing you, and so long to all you buddies out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy
Cheers.
Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Bye.